Have everything right. Greetings, everyone. Good Monday, and thank you so much for joining us for our new name, Witch Times Television, which I'm probably going to have to get used to saying that because I'm so used to saying the priestess view. But
I
as
know,
we
right?
talked about it last week, we wanted to change our name to incorporate the word witch to make it easier for people to find us, but also to project more about really what we're really about. You know, we are priestesses, yes, but we are also straight up witches. And that's the way we want it to be. And part of our title came from,
Oh, right. Yes, I wanted to thank everyone.
and I wanted to thank you. Just bear with me for a moment. Ama Ya Love, who gave us kind of half of the title. And so we wanted to thank her too. I'm not sure if she is
There's
out in the chat room. She might not be here yet, but
I'm sure she would hear it when she looks at one of our shows and look back.
Yeah, she'll see it.
We really wanted to thank her because again, to me, I felt like when I saw that and part of it, I thought when you said that she sent that, I said, you know what? That shows very much of what we mean about we create a family here with all of us, and that everyone that is with our show, you guys are all such an integral part of our show. So we really wanted to tell you thank you for taking the initiative to step up and say, you know what, if you guys are changing your name, how about this one or whatever it is, I think that's wonderful. That's how interactive you guys are, and that's how part of our show you guys are. So many, many thanks.
Many thanks. Thank you so much. I hope you guys like the name. We love your feedback. We've gotten a lot of feedback in our Witch Times Television. You have to get used to saying it. Witch Times Television Facebook group. We changed that name too. We are quite annoyed with Facebook, who has, as of yet, not allowed us to change our page name. I'm appealing the decision, so we may have to start a new page, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So anyway, as always, before we begin, we like to cast a circle of protection around us. All hail, our lords and ladies of the East, our brothers and sisters, our brother and patron, the sacred element of air, namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. We charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you. So it is. So mote it be.
Thank you, and so it is. So mote it be. All hail our lords and ladies of the South, my brothers and sisters, my brother and patron, the sacred element of fire. Namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. I charge you, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you, and so it is. So mote it be.
So it is. So mote it be. All hail, our lords and ladies of the West, our brothers and sisters, our sister and patron, the sacred element of water. Namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. We charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you. So it is. So mote it be.
So it is, and so mote it be. All hail, our lords and ladies of the North, my brother and sisters, my sister and patron, the sacred element of earth. Namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. I charge you, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you, and so it is. So mote it be.
So it is. So mote it be. And we now bring down the divine white light from the sacred source of all well-being and fill all of our spaces with peace and protection always. So it is. So mote it be.
So it is, and so mote it be. All right.
Oh, yay. As always, we are ready for a great show tonight. Great topics, great discussions. Please, if you are not in our chat room, if you're looking at it on a computer, if you just scroll to the left, it should be to your left. I'm sorry, to your right, the right of your screen. And if you're on your phone or tablet, you might have to scroll down, but we welcome all of your comments, all of your feedback, and we like to acknowledge you as well. And so tonight we're going to talk about a couple of topics. We have some Mercury retrograde wire issues going on here, but that's okay. We're on top of it. Okay, so we're going to start off with, is the term witch archaic? Now, the reason we're asking this is we actually, in one of our recent shows, someone, and I wish I had paid attention or had written down who it was who said in our chat room that they felt that the term witch was archaic. And Goddess Starr and I are like, what you talking about?
Well, like, I am archaic, all right? As archaic as they come.
Archaic,
I am old world. I am so archaic. I'm on the cave walls. That's archaic.
And so, let me see.
You know what's funny? When you, kind of going back a bit to what you said earlier about approaching Facebook, about the name change and all of that, and the little bit of a glitch they're trying there. It's kind of like, in some ways, a lot of people don't like that word witch, and I suspect that's part of the issue with Facebook, but I'm hoping that they will get over it and move on with us in a nice way.
I am too. I'm really hoping that they'll change their minds, and if not, no problem. We'll
just start over.
We'll just start over and change the page. But we started thinking about, why would we consider the term witch to be archaic? Now, I wrote down a couple of notes here, and the only thing that I can think of is, as Goddess Starr just pointed out, the term witch has had just so much negative connotation to it that I think people have broken out. They call themselves light workers. Some people want to call themselves warlocks and magicians and wizards and alchemists. I had someone say to me, ask me about witchcraft, and I said, "Are you a witch?" And she said, "No, I'm an alchemist." Like, all right, congratulations, you're a witch. And so a lot of people, for some reason, it's the same way they don't want to say psychic anymore. You're supposed to say you are an intuitive. I'm like, what is the difference? You can call yourself a psychic, an intuitive, a prophet. It all means the same thing. So I don't really get, and I think it's kind of offensive that people who are witches don't want to use that word. I find it's an honorable word. It's a powerful label. It's something that I think a lot of people, if they truly understood, they would aspire to be. And I actually believe that most people, unbeknownst to them, and Goddess Starr and I have talked about this before, most people are witches and they don't know it. People cast spells every single day. And I wanted to tell you, Goddess Starr, one of my friends came over and we were talking about Black Panther, because I know you've probably seen the movie by now like 1,000 times.
7 times. Okay?
Yes, I knew you were going to say something like that. And I know. What's the name of the main guy? What's his name? It's not Michael Jordan. He's the other guy.
T'Challa.
He actually, according to one of my friends who was watching an interview, he said he wanted that part and he put it on his altar. So I just wanted to point out that your boyfriend's a witch and you should hook up.
All right. He wanted that part and he put it on his altar and he's like, all right. Oh, let me make sure that we have no feedback, because I'm hearing feedback. Okay. I was not muted. I was not muted, so I'm good. Okay, I just did it. I muted myself now. I was like, what's that feedback? Okay, so yeah. That's so good. I am so glad. That's like hearing Meryl Streep when she said blessed be when she did her speech years ago. So it's always great to hear, when one of them finally says something or acknowledges something in a certain way.
Publicly. I love that. And you know what else? There's this commercial for command strips. Those are those strips that you use to hang pictures. You don't have to put holes in the wall. It's like a, you know, like a tape kind of a thing. And the guy from Project Runway, Tim Dunn, does the talks. He's the speaker for the commercial. And at the end of the commercial, he says, "Do no harm." And he says it with a twinkle in his eye and a smile on his lips that lets me know that he also, or at least he's working for practice. The way they say it's like, do no harm. And he's got this like shit-eating grin on his face when he says it. So we know where he's coming from too. So I say all this to say that we have many prominent witches. We might not know that they're out there. They may not advertise themselves as witches, but they're out there. And so we're wondering also from you in the chat room, how you're feeling about the term witch. Do you think that it's old, it's not modern anymore, that it's archaic? What is your thoughts on that, Goddess Starr? I mean, I've been just babbling up.
Oh my goodness. I have so many thoughts on it because I'm a witch, simple as that. And I would say that to people. I don't care how they take it, but that's just me. I think it depends on where you are and how you are in your life and where you're situated, where you live and all of those things. If someone is bold enough to ask me, I will tell them straight up. I am not going to hide it or lie. However they take it, that's on them. Because if you're adult enough and bold enough to ask me, the answer you get, you're adult enough to accept and take,
right,
and go with it. Either that or bugger off. I think I think a lot of people, without realizing it, they're kind of copping out on the word. I don't mean people who are in the Bible Belt or different things like that. I mean people who are in positions that are able to voice that, and they change the terms to adapt to whatever it is. It's kind of like, I think recently we were talking about the word actor and actress. For many a years, the word actor and actress meant actor was the male, actress was the female. Now they've changed it all to just actors, almost like if they're belittling the actress part and make, well, you know, come on, just put your name with ours and be done. And I think that's disrespectful. You know, that's like changing something around and saying, you know, giving it a different meaning. It does not mean the meaning has changed. It just means that you've given it a different name, nothing else. So if I know what I am, if you want to call yourself a light worker or whatever else, hey man, more power to you. Like I said, we are legally a religion on the books, federally, and all of that. When I was in the hospital, and I know they had the part where they said, choose a name, what religion you are, search, and I'm so accustomed to putting other whenever you have given those choices. So when I finally saw the word Wicca there, I was just like, I'll take Wicca, you know, I'll take it in whatever form you got it, because it was if it had said pagan, I would have taken it. But the day that I'm looking forward to is when it says Wiccan, because Wiccan people call themselves Wiccan, pagan, or witch. And I would gladly check the witch.
Me too.
You know, I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully we can be that evolved that we can. I doubt it, but I'm hoping, you know. But I think we've mentioned it in different shows for different things, not just the word witch. But if you don't learn to accept yourself fully as who you are, then you are denying parts of who you are. And when people say, if they're taking it the way it originally means, when people say Wicca or pronounced properly Wicca, they just be saying they're a male witch.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're saying witchy, which all in Anglo-Saxon, witchy is just witch. It's just pronounced witch, but you know what I mean? And all that means is female witch. And Wiccan or Wiccan is just more than one witch. But if you're hiding under that umbrella as, oh, I'm Wiccan because to people it's acceptable, again, you're still hiding. The only reason I would say I'm Wiccan to anyone is when I say I'm a witch, they look at me with a blank look. And I'm going pagan, nothing. Then when I finally say Wiccan, they go, oh, okay, I got it. I'm like, oh, right, great.
Wow.
That's what you associated with. So I I would take whatever I can get with it. But if they ask me straight up, my first word out of my mouth is always, I am a witch. Again, I am in that position where I can say that. So I am not saying to anyone, mind you, that they should put themselves in danger in any way by saying it in their situation. We each know our situations. But if among yourselves, you are denying those words, even among yourselves or among your people per se, then you are denying part of who you are. You can put a lighter word on it or whatever it is, in whatever way you want that suits what your mode is at that time or what you're willing to accept. But it does not mean that you have fully accepted yourself as that witch in every sense of the word. At least to me, it doesn't. I could be wrong, mind you, but it's just like saying, I'm not female. I'm kind of sort of female. I'm not really female or something, you know. I'm female. It is what I was born with, the parts and all of the little bitsy parts of it, you know. So I am not going to deny I'm a female because I am, and I'm proud of it. Just like a male should not deny that they're males or whatever it is. And I just don't think we should be denying who we are, especially among our people. If you're in the Bible Belt and people are around you, then claim whatever it is you have to claim that will make you comfortable within that means.
Safe. You know, we want you to be safe.
Do what you have to do. You know, we want you to be safe. But outside of that, if you're in a group of, say, like you're at one of the pagan festivals or whatever it is, and you're still saying those things, then, you know, I'm sorry, you're copping out. That's just the way I'm seeing it. I'm sorry. Or rather, I'm sorry, not sorry. I'm not going to, because I'm not really sorry. I'm telling you the way I see it. So I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you the truth of what I'm seeing. Now, again, you forgot many shows we've said, people are born witches in my head. That's how I see it. People are born as witches, whether they accept themselves as that in this lifetime is another thing. So if you're not willing to accept yourself in that, in this time, then, you know, that's what it is. That's what is dealt, you know, and more power to you. That's just my thoughts on it. What do you think, Goddess?
No, you know what? I am right there with you. And I actually think it's impossible for the term witch to be archaic, because the definite looking up, because I like to look up the definition of things anyway. Sometimes I think I know the definition of something, but I like to know exactly what it is when I'm talking. And so looking at the definition of archaic, we have obsolete, out of date, old-fashioned, outmoded. And I'm like, we're still doing everything. It's not like witches lived 1,000 years ago and there's no more witches practicing. We have just kept practicing for the thousands and thousands of years that we have been here. And to validate that, I found this great website, and I'm going to put it here in the chat room, and I'll put it in our group. Let me just put that there so I don't forget for you guys. And it has witch news in it. Now, a lot of the articles are pretty old, but there are still some really good ones in there. And it's called The Independent, is the name of the newspaper, and they have a whole section on news about witches and what's going on. And one of the things I pulled up, and this was written in August of 2017, and it's titled, Why Salem's Modern Day Feminist Witchcraft Scene is Giving Rise to Magic Tourism. Meet the Millennial Witches. Now that fascinated me, the Millennial Witches. Meet the Millennial Witches shaking up Massachusetts with a hip new brand of the craft. So I'm like, cool, I want to see what's the hip new brand of the craft. You know, I'm not too old to learn. Let's see what they're doing that's different than what we're doing. And I'm not going to read the whole article for you. I put the link there and you can read it for yourself. And some of the things they do, you know, we didn't do. They share spells on Instagram, you know, and Facebook and social media and things like that. We didn't have that when we were coming up. So I could see where that would be considered modern. They don't wear pointy hats. I'm kind of offended by that because I love my pointy hat.
Yep.
And they're also seeing, which is another topic that I don't want to jump too far into, they see witchcraft as a feminist practice, which I'm like, hello, there's tons of men.
No,
But we'll
no,
get back to that. I don't want to get
no.
myself off point like I tend to do. So
Yeah.
they do the same things as us. They have flower potion, workshops, green kitchen things. They sell incense and crystals, and they run a witches education league to teach about witches. And as I'm looking at this in their green school, their green witch school of herbalism, they're not doing anything different, these millennials, with the exception of using modern social media, which again, we did not have. They're just doing the same things we did. They're making potions, they make incense, they grow their plants, they create their herbal concoctions, they cast spells. So why are they being called millennial witches? They're just straight up witches like the rest of us. I feel like when you're saying millennial, you're saying that they're a different type of witch, that they're doing something way different. Yes, they are able to do things on social media, but that's still, they're basically doing the same thing that we as witches do. So I don't think it's possible for us to, for the term witch to be archaic. I just don't think it's really possible. I really don't. What do you think about for a final thought on that, Goddess Starr, before I start reading what's in our chat room? Because everyone's got a lot.
If you want to say that, then I'm not going to ever name myself millennial or neo-pagan. I can't stand that word, those words, neo-pagan, neo-anything, or any of those things, because it's just it's just that I cannot see beyond us denying something. It's like denying a part of who you are to be acceptable within a certain thing. And also, we are also on social media now. Now that it's in our face and it's there, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on all the different things as well. And we're still not going to call ourselves millennial witches. We're just witches. As to what that's like saying, I don't know, years from now in the future, even when remember that on Charmed, the one where I forgot, it's not Piper, Alyssa Milano's character went in the future and she had committed the crime, but in the future they were still calling them witches. No matter what era or time or whatever it is, a witch is a witch is a witch is a witch. That's just my thought on it. Man, it's again, it's kind of like saying you're giving up part of who you are inherently to be more acceptable, or to say I'm different. I'm so different. I am not a witch anymore. I am the millennial witch, or anything else. It just means that you practice more with what you guys have now. In the future, they'll have Snapchat or whatever, FaceTime or whatever it is they call it that they're doing. And that's how they see it. You know, then I'll be the Snapchat witch, or I'll be the FaceTime witch, or whatever. And then the millennials will be sitting back and going, what the hell? You know, it's the same thing. You just have to see it for what it is. And that's the one thing about the word witch. It's timeless.
Timeless.
It is. It's timeless because you can travel through whatever time, whatever century. It is still.
It is timeless. Everyone knows what that word means.
Yes.
So
it's just a matter of what's acceptable. So I'll be that timeless witch. Thank you very much.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna look.
You know what it is? I think it's just a matter of being very proud of who and what you are. Simple.
Absolutely. Oh, look, guys.
Let's see what our people in the chat room had to say about that.
Okay, so merry meet, everyone. You know how much we love you. Merry meet Bella and Cameron and Lolan. Haven't seen you in a long time. Veronica, Peggy. I'ma Love says you're welcome to us, Goddess Starr. She gave us half of our name, which we love.
Oh, yay. Good to have you here. Thank you for speaking up and saying, well, let me just stick my face in there, and I'm part of this show too, so let me see what you want. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have Goddess Erica, who says hi. She's off on a Monday and happy that she can watch us. She's not on a plane, and we both look beautiful. Thank you, beautiful goddess. We have
Thank you.
505QD. I'm sorry, my thing scrolls. We have Goddess Ellen and Peggy and Rebecca and Veray. I got it right this time, Veray. And so we're going to go ahead and talk about the comments that we have here. So we have Peggy, who says, it depends on where you are living and who will accept you. I never tell anyone about my path because of where I live. And that's okay. We're not talking about if you need to keep your spirituality private. We don't have a problem with that. We're talking about people who are publicly denying that they are a witch and calling themselves something else. But by all means, if you don't need to tell anybody, it's nobody's business but your business. Let's see. We have, sorry, my thing keeps scrolling down.
Yeah.
So there's our darling Peggy. And we've got Veronica, who says, I don't open it up. I don't offer it up, but I won't deny it. We have Bella, who says, I'm proud of who I am. I don't shout it from the rooftops. Well, for no reason. And she's always a witch. And Peggy says she hopes.
Yeah.
I hope things change too, Peggy. It's been thousands of years.
I
Maybe
do.
we'll get lucky
I
eventually.
do.
505.
But you know what?
Mm-hmm.
One second. I just wanted to say, you have to think of things like this. Before they can accept the words witch or any of those things, people have to learn to accept first racism, or the fact that we're all one set of human beings, and get rid of racism. People then have to accept the gay rights and all of that until first the race part, and they're not going to accept gay rights until they accept racism or race issues and solve it. Until those two things are solved, unfortunately, the word witch will be having a hard time.
Right.
It's just what it is, because all of that is all cluttered together in there, and it's sad. I'm hoping the whole idea is that for us to evolve and learn from this, but it seems to have been so ingrained in people, and Christians or Christianity religion has become something that rules in a way that's with an iron hand on what we choose to believe or not. That I don't know how evolved we can be. We'll try. We have got to do it. Somehow we've got to do it. And hopefully we can.
I agree with you 100%. Hopefully we'll be able to pull that off. And to get back into our chat room, 505 says, I told my mom I'm pagan. She's still trying to understand why. Wow. Okay. You know what? Why don't you give her the link to our show, and she can sit and listen to all of us and talk about things and discuss things. Maybe it will help to give her a better understanding of why you do.
That's true. Yeah.
We've got a lot of archived shows. So we have our beautiful Jasmine Moonglow. What a beautiful name that is. Hello to you, goddess. Veray says she's on the buckle of the Bible Belt. We're going to talk about something that might help you to counter those people, but we're going to get to that in a little bit. And Veronica is offering her sympathies. First, I want to say something about the Bible Belt, okay? My sister, who I love and adore, is she's a born-again Christian. And so one of the reasons she moved to Georgia was because it's the Bible Belt. And so she felt like, everyone's going to be, very spiritual like her and religious like her. And she is so disappointed. She's like, you know what, Rhonda? People roll in the church straight from the strip club. They just come right on in there. She said, the Bible Belt is not really so much about religion and spirituality. It's about habit. They're used to getting up and going to church and spouting all this stuff, but their lives do not match.
It does not reflect it.
It does not reflect what they're talking about. And so she is pretty just pretty disappointed about that. But so, let's not pretend, the Bible Belt is this big, strip of spiritual communities when they got Atlanta is the #1 strip capital of the world, not of the country, of the world. So how they say that, oh, we're on the Bible Belt and say that with a straight face is just beyond me. But anyway, I don't want to get on one of Rhonda's rolls. So we're going to go back to our chat room because you know how I can get when I get on a roll. Okay, so we've got Peggy who says, everyone thinks of witches as the ugly Halloween green face things. You know what? There is this clip that goes around Facebook periodically, and it's apparently some holiday in Europe where everyone dresses up like a witch and does this witch dance or whatever. I don't know exactly. I don't remember what the holidays. I was so offended that all the women in there, and there were tons of women doing this, this ritual dance or whatever it is.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
and
but actually,
have on warts on their face, and they look just absolutely horrific. And there were so many witches who were saying, "Oh, this is great," and sharing it around. I just love this, and I'm like, can we not reflect witches as something ugly and evil?
Well, one of the things I have to tell you, I did some research on that group, and they're not witches.
What are they?
They're a Christian group that this is what they put on and what they reflect, what they think witches are. And they and I was just, and they were dancing, and I guess people thought it was cute, but no one thought to investigate what it was about. And it's just a Christian group of people that thought that this is make fun of the witches, and then it turned into something that they normally do and became an annual thing for them. But they're not witches. So basically they are making fun of witches. So when I see people that are considered witches passing it around, I just kind of go, okay, they did not look at it and find out who these people are. So I just kind of ignore it when I see it because it's been passed around a lot.
Yes, and I complained heavily in the comments about it, and I got shot down, but I don't care. I will continue to complain
because they're not seeing it. They're not seeing it for what it is, and that's okay. But ignorance is not bliss. It's just not.
No, it's not. All right, let me go back to our chat room. So let's say, Veray says, thank you. I ran into a lady the other day who tries to truly understand why I'm not Christian, and she tries to proselytize me. It did not work out in her favor. You go, girl. And you are so welcome. Because I got something to throw at you that I want you to throw in their face next time someone says something to you. So Veronica says people are funny. They suspect I'm a witch, but don't ask. It's like they don't want to be, un-PC.
On the spot.
You are so welcome, Goddess Peggy. Amma says, my sister uses the name witch to badmouth me to other family members and friends. I need a spell for her to keep her mouth off of me. You know what? PM me, because I have a spell that works for that, to make them to stop ruining your name. Jasmine Moon says, I think the independent is confusing them with the Dianic cult. Could be, but you know what? If you were probably to ask the millennial witches what that meant, the Dianic cult, they probably would not know.
They have no idea. Yeah.
They would just stare at
it. Yeah, like, what is that?
They would. Okay. Oh, Goddess Judy came. Hold on. I got scrolled up. Whenever someone types, it scrolls. And so I have to find out where we were. We are up there. Well, I really scrolled really far. Okay. Hold on. Okay, there we are. So Veronica says people are funny. They says, okay, we got that one. Okay, the Dianic cult. Okay. Okay, so Jasmine says, I tend to think the millennials are more materialistic. Veronica says, I love when Jehovah's Witnesses come to my door. I have no problem telling about my faith. Me either. In fact, I would like to engage in a discussion with them, but they never want to. I don't know why.
I know. When they pull out their Bibles or anything else, I said, I've got something for you. Hold on. I'll get my book of shadows. I'm running to go get my book of shadows. I'm like, I want to show you mine. Show me. Let's share. And they
don't want to share. So screw them anyway.
I'm like, I am in a sharing mood. I really want to share. my thoughts, my spells, everything. I want to share it with you guys. You guys want to share your stuff with me. They're not interested in doing an exchange of sharing.
And we have Ray, who also says, yes, some people can be very bold, though. I guess because she saw me sitting there crocheting, she thought I wouldn't put that stitch work up and let her behind have it. And I just did that. Good for you for letting her
good
have
for you, girl.
Independent forgets New York City's occult revival of the 80s. You know what? They're a European paper, so they might not actually know about it. Lolan says, when I talk to witches, I tell them I'm a witch. When I talk to druids, I tell them I'm a druid witch, and so on. The big difference, I'm sorry, Jasmine says the big difference is social media and their lives are out in the open. Peggy says, I'm solitary, but I think the younger people are moving to the old ways, which I'm glad to hear. Although I also think a lot of the younger people, they get into this, not so much because they have a true interest in the spirituality of it. It's because they just need to solve something. They want a love spell,
yep.
job spell. They want the spells, but they don't want the rest of it. So I'm not really sure
it's not a true calling for them. It's because one of the things that people have to realize is being a witch or a witchcraft and accepting who you are in this lifetime or whatever it is. It's not like converting into Christianity. It's an actual calling, being awoken. So if it's not something that called you on its own, you're just there for the spell. And you would hear them saying, can't you just teach me about the spells?
Yes.
And things like that. And I honestly don't like to waste my time because I am extremely busy. So I kind of like, I don't think you want to talk to me. I think you need to go look on Meetup. Go look on this. I send them to everywhere, but I'm like, just avoid my page. Because I don't have the time. I honestly tell them that. I don't have the time. I'm very busy. So what you need is not what I can give.
Right.
I just don't have it.
I'm with you on that one. Okay. Black woman ban up. Hello. Says, I have a question. When you set food out as an offering, does the food dissipate over to them or do you eat it of yourself? Depends on what your spirituality is. So, and what different techniques you follow. So technically, when you leave the food out, what they're getting is the essence, the energy.
Oh, right. I didn't understand it. Okay.
And so in Hinduism, you are supposed to, after you've made the offering and let it sit for a while, you're supposed to eat the food because the Hindu gods and goddesses bless it. And then you actually get to take in those blessings. It's called prasad. So you eat it. But I don't know that other spiritualities, what they do with it. I can only speak as far as that. So, eat it, because I eat all of the offerings, at least as much as I can, because you're supposed to get
ingest. Yeah, I have a tendency to ingest as well.
So that's what you do. That's the way we do it. Now, that's our way. By all means, look into other ways. And again, I don't know what your modality is, so you can check that out as well as far as your modality. Okay, so we've got Ginger. Wow, we've got a lot of comments today. I'm trying to do all of them before we move on. Ginger, millennial is a generation definition like Generation X. Bella says, no, don't eat it. After a day or so, you can throw it away or feed it to the animals. That was for you, Black Woman Banner. Try her way as well. We all have our own ways of doing things. Jasmine says, wow, totally dissed all the folks that did Witch In at Central Park just so Beltane Maypole celebrations can happen. Okay, Cool Flavor. Hello, Cool Flavor says it's like saying indigo children. Oh my goodness. Can we not get on the children labels? The crystal children, the rainbow children, the indigo children, they're all witches. Can we just say that? They're
yep, that's what they are. They're all exceptionally, the only differences between them is, I think, the awakening. There are some awakenings that's different for each of them because of the era that they're in. Other than that, I don't think there are any differences at all. They're just straight up witches. They're very intuitive, very intelligent, and people have a tendency to name them ADHD and medicate them to nullify or to suppress their craft or to suppress their magics, to take away their intuition. I think that's what I find it very offensive.
Well, Jasmine says, I wonder how much Wicca is respected as a religion in the workplace. When I was in the mortgage industry, I was an open witch. Everybody knew who I was, and no one ever gave me a hard time about it. Maybe they were scared to. I don't know. But
when I was in real estate, I did the same thing. I was very open with a big pentagram on my pentacle on my pendant. No one gave me a hard time, and I was in real estate for 17 years in Manhattan. No one gave me a hard time. No one, actually, they didn't even query about it. We just worked. It was no one's business, just like their crosses on their chest or whatever. I never thought to even go, oh, are you a Christian or whatever? And they in turn never did. I don't touch my space.
There you go. Let's see what else we got here. We've got a lot of comments. We might have to come back to them. Okay, so Black Woman Ban Up says, some of my subscribers let me know they are witches when I first started my channel. And I said, I'm okay with it because my mom told me we come from a long line of them. Yeah, they're perfectly fine. Goddess Judy made it. And she says, well, my mom always called me Johnny in Arabic. Thought she was saying gypsy, but ironically, my cousin corrected her and said, you were calling her a little witch. So see, even back then. And her grandmother was psychic and mystical, so it's preordained. She was raised Catholic, but pish posh, already leaving to the left. Good for you, goddess. We are very proud of you.
Yeah, so proud of you, girl. Do what you have to do for yourselves. That's what it is. As long as you're comfortable and know that we are all here for each other. In this space and among all of us, whether you're in the chat room or here with us, we're all here for each other, and you can reach out and ask us questions or anything at all.
Yes, so by all means, please do. And Bella's saying, wow, learn something new. I never heard of eating an offering. Yes. When you're making an offering, as the spirits ingest that energy, they also bless it. And if you eat that and you take that energy in, you take the blessings in, it's it's fairly common practice. But like I said, everyone does their
it's different,
way.
And also with some of them, as well as ingesting, some, depending on what it is, they leave it there, and then depending on the practice side of what they do, and then at some point, a lot of it, depending on whether it's liquor or alcohol, rum or vodka, it will dissipate into the air or into the ether, and some people eventually bury it, throw it out into the earth and bury it. So, I mean, it depends. I kind of go based, I don't treat all the gods and goddesses as the same. Each of them is different in what they require, whether it's to ingest or to bury or to whatever. So kind of go intuitively with it. Don't limit yourself to what you think people have told you in the past. I mean, we're just telling you a couple of things. Mm-hmm. So now you're learning about the ingesting part. Go, if you feel like that's what's being said to you, then do so. Don't ignore those intuitive suggestions because you're basing it on what someone told you. Oh, no, don't touch it, leave it. You know what I mean? They're going on their intuition or what they've themselves been passed on and thought, just like anything else. One of the things about witchcraft and being a witch is you're an intuitive yourself. No one needs to mediate for you. So what you get from them directly is go with it. Listen to it, let it work for you personally. It's your personal practice, nothing else. It's not mine. It's not Goddess Rhonda's. It's yours. Okay, so go with that.
That's right. Own it. And, and try things. Try what works for you. You might find, like I love candle magic. For some people, candle magic doesn't work well for them. They do something else. You have to develop your own system, your own traditions, your own stuff. Or if you want to just stick with your tradition that you're in and their rules and protocols, that's okay too. But just try different things and see if it works out for you, because you never know. And one of the things Goddess and Starr and I always emphasize is that we are constantly learning.
Yeah,
we are
always.
Constantly. learning.
Yeah.
We are lifelong students
Learners. Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
craft. If I
If
live
you
to 1,000,
go
I will
ahead.
still have things to learn.
Yep. And if you noticed, we would go to Hex Fest, or we would go to other festivals, and we would learn from other witches and stuff, because there is so much to learn. We're a big, wide world. So each person practices differently. And yes, someone might teach you something and nothing that you wanted from there, or you may take a grain away that you may add to your practice, and oh, wow, it did something to it. I mean, don't limit yourself. That's the one thing I've always loved about being a witch, is that I can formulate my own things and let it adapt to me, to my way of thinking and my way of doing. And your craft becomes so powerful just
Mhm.
being that way. Um, don't take on someone else's persona of what it should be, because you're losing your empowerment there, your version of what it is, your power. You know what I mean? Come from within yourself and listen to yourself. Listen to what's inside of you. Okay?
And
Make it personal.
one of the things I've always said was, as you do things, probably in all of your lifetimes, you have been a witch of some form. So you've probably
Yep.
already been
Yep.
most of the traditions. And you might find you're very comfortable with mixing them and blending them because you've done it before. So you might take some from this and some from that and create your own little magical practice. And that's okay. It's okay to do that, because all you're really doing is really in this lifetime, we're just getting refresher courses. We've done all this before.
Yep.
And so don't be afraid to experiment and go outside the box. Now, again, if you're more comfortable staying within whatever tradition that you're in, we support you. Roll on with that. That's quite okay. But if you're adventurous and you want to try some new stuff, go right ahead.
Actually, Goddess Rhonda said something that was so perfectly true. One of the things you have to realize is you have been here many lifetimes, unless you're a very, very new soul. And even that new soul has been here before. So if you've learned and been here before, and you've been that witch in that many lifetimes, and again, if you've been to all these traditions, or you've just been that witch in the mountains, or whatever it is that you were doing and developed for yourself, the reason that you don't feel comfortable per se in a tradition that someone else forged is because you've already had your tradition. You've already picked and put together whatever it is. So when people pigeonhole it and call it the eclectic witch or whatever, people forget witches do not like being pigeonholed. We do not like being labeled. If we, other than to say we're the witches. So whatever your tradition is, it is the Goddess Rhonda tradition, or the Goddess Starr tradition, or the Goddess Monica, or all the other names in the chat room. It is your tradition because you've been picking up on this all this many lifetimes, and it comes natural to you, and that's what feels comfortable. Whatever other traditions that have formed since then, it doesn't sit well on me because that's not my tradition. And it's not necessarily a tradition, it's just your practice. I'm going to choose to say not tradition, practice. Whatever your practice is, that's your practice.
Absolutely. I'm trying to bring something up on my tablet, but while I'm fighting with the Mercury retrograde energies that are really getting on my last nerve, we are going to go ahead. Finally, now it's starting to come up. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic. But I wanted to throw something in here. So just give me just 1 minute, as I'm desperately trying to do this. And I don't know why it's not letting me. Oh, wait, it heard me, so now it might let me.
I love that. It heard you.
It heard me. Because it knows I'm about to throw it across the room, because I just do not have the patience right this very second for it.
Yeah.
So just bear with me for 1 second, and so I can bring this up. Okay, so while this is hopefully working, it looks like it's trying.
Real hard.
really, really hard. I wanted to throw a theory out there at you guys, and it's just something for you to think about. And also, it's for those of you who do live on the Bible Belt. I want to throw something at you that I want you to throw at those naysayers or those who make fun of you. So, anyway, I'm just waiting for this to come up so I can put it to the side here because I'm not sure how long it's going to take for it to do it. Anyway, finally, I'm
Oh,
about to
wait.
lose my mind.
Someone said they're having technical issues. Someone said they're having visual technical issues. Two people said it.
Okay, so what are the technical, are you having a hard time? Let's
It's
see.
just what they said. It's just looping.
Okay, just looping, no sound or vid. I can't exit because if I exit,
The
it's
show
going
did that.
to,
Yeah.
it's going to end. Let's see. Okay, can anyone tell us in the chat room if you can see us now? Okay, Cameron says her video has been perfect this whole time.
Oh, okay.
So apparently it's not everybody.
Okay, all right. Sounds good.
It's probably just random Mercury retrograde stuff.
Yeah.
So
So sorry, sweetie, whoever it's
I'm
happening
really
to.
sorry if it's just looping. I apologize. All right, so I wanted to address something, especially for those of you who live on the Bible Belt. One of my friends who is an author and he goes by Nasan, Nahsun, is an erotica novelist. And while I typically don't read erotica, I'm really enjoying his book. And one of the things in there, it's a book about swingers and living the lifestyle of sex
All right.
and things like that. And has some really great, I have to tell you, turn the fan on if you're going to read this book and have like bowls of ice chunks that you can like rub on yourself.
Oh my God. You're like, oh my God. I'm having hot flashes.
But the thing about it is, and here's, if you want to look it up, here's what it looks like, the upside down pineapple, and you, me, us, and them. And one of the things that fascinated me was one of the characters owns a sex club called the Garden of Eden. And I started thinking about the Garden of Eden. For those of you who were raised Christian or with the Bible, if we think back to the Garden of Eden, it really was a very hedonistic society. They didn't think. All they did was they walked around with no clothes on. They had sex. They ate. They indulged themselves of sensual pleasures. It wasn't until Eve, who I credit as a woman bringing intelligence to the world. It wasn't until Eve, ate her apple and discovered that, and was ashamed at her nakedness, and that the God of the Bible got very angry and they got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, because the intention was, obviously, if they weren't supposed to think, was that they were supposed to indulge in sensual physical pleasures. You eat, you have sex, you lay around, you swim. That was the intention of technically what the earth was created for. So it's very interesting to me that we were created with the intention of indulging ourselves sexually and sensually. And that is the very thing that Christians and even Jewish people, Judaism from the Old Testament, will fight you tooth and nail on. That you're not supposed to be sexual. You're supposed to marry someone and just stay with that person and have sex for procreation only and stuff like that. But if we go back and examine the Garden of Eden, which was supposedly in their religions, the original place of creation, technically the swingers and the lifestylers have it right, because that is what we were intended for. We didn't get kicked out until we started thinking and using our minds and saying, no, we don't want to do this anymore. And we got booted. I won't say we, they got booted from the Garden of Eden because they put their clothes on and they were embarrassed about their sensual tendencies. So I think that the next time a Christian comes up to you or someone starts, rattling at you with Old Testament stuff, you know, you can't do this and you're not supposed to do that. I say engage them with the original intention of their God was to indulge in the Garden of Eden and sexual and sensual pleasure. And that technically you were doing what we were created to do in the first place by going out and getting your freak on whenever you feel like it. So, and just let's see what their response to that is. You know, what can they possibly say?
Actually, a lot of them do exactly that. They call it different names. A lot of them are pedophiles or whatever else. They do that and they just hide it. That's all. You know, and then they go the next Sunday or whatever and they ask for forgiveness for doing it. It's a cycle that they go through. But yeah.
Well, I also think it's interesting the correlation between the Bible Belt and, you know, being in Atlanta and my sister saying that people, you know, they roll out of the strip club and go to church right from the strip club.
That's what I mean.
Technically, that's what they were supposed to do, because if we examine the Garden of Eden closely,
yep,
it was a place of sensual pleasure, and that is it. There was supposed to be any thinking going on there. You were to indulge your senses. And so I haven't, this book inspired that. I love thought-provoking books, and it's really, I know I overanalyze things a little bit, but I would love to engage someone, a Christian, with that and see what they have to say about the Garden of Eden and the original intention behind humans according to their religion. I would love to hear that. So the next time they come up to you and start saying, well, you know, you're going to go to hell and things like that. You know, when Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Evil, getting their freak on and just indulging themselves sensually, they weren't threatened with going to hell. In fact, that's what we were created for. So what do you have to say about that? Because I love getting in people's faces and challenging them. And so by all means, please challenge them on that point, because I've never heard that anyone discuss that. And I think it should be discussed what the original intentions were, so people can just lighten up, for God's sake. All right. So next we have, why is witchcraft linked with feminism when there are so many male witches? And I can't understand why that is, because when I was reading that article about the millennial witches, and they were saying that, you know, it's a return to feminism or whatever, I was like, well, wait a minute. First of all, you know, if you're truly a witch, we recognize both the god and the goddess.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time on promoting the goddess energy because we need balance. There is no balance in the world today.
Right.
It is mainly masculine energy. So by us, you know, promoting the goddess energy and pushing it out there, we're trying to create some balance going on. But that does not mean that we are in disrespect of the divine masculine. And so how are you being a witch if you're not even acknowledging the divine masculine? And how is it that the male witches are not being observed in this? Is it because they're more quiet? Now, keep in mind, Goddess Starr and I, we belong to a lot of witch groups, a lot. And a lot of those witch groups have men in there. And so we're used to talking to male witches, or, you know, male metaphysicians, or whatever it is you want to call yourself. But it occurred to me reading this article that the public does not see it that way. They don't see male witches. And I'm just wondering why. And I'd love to hear your theory on that, Goddess Starr, if you have one, about why it is that men are not being acknowledged as witches. And also, is it offensive for these millennial witches and all those and other witches out there who may not call themselves millennial witches to be in open disregard of the divine masculine, which I think is, you know, it's very important to have that balance of male and female energy. So what are your thoughts on that?
See, that's the thing. I think originally there was a lot of matriarchal gods and goddesses, goddesses around the world. And when the patriotic part took over, and they desecrated the female ones, over time, because it's been the God form for so long, I think somewhere along the line, people, human beings, began to equate the goddesses with feminism. I honestly do. I don't think they realize that it's not what we're fighting for. Like you said, you pretty much said it. We're just working for the balance of it, because there used to be a balance at one point because it coexisted beautifully. That's how it started out. Then when the patriarchal side came around, and they not only did they take away the goddess part, they desecrated it. They wanted to show how much the female did not matter. So now, in this modern times, I think the females are trying to do that opposite part. And what's missing is we cannot become what they did, or we cannot become what they were. We have to become better than, and show that there is a balance. There's a yin and yang. There is a balance in the world, a male and female to every aspect. Even when they're asexual, they still have to be divided into a male and female side of it. So no matter what, it's there. That balance that has to be attained. As human beings, again, we have a very hard time evolving. Animals evolve better than or faster than humans. And people think, oh, you're behaving like an animal. Gee, thanks. That means I'm evolved better than you have. Human beings have a hard time with that. So you would notice that from the 50s and on, not the 50s, the 60s and on, a lot of feminist groups have formed and calling themselves the Dianic and the different things based on that. They're so busy doing the exchange of it that they've forgotten that there has to be a balance, or has to be maintained between the two. None is better than or whatever. They're equal in that sense. The thing is that there are, with going forward with that, again, it shows our lack of evolving mentally by people thinking of it as, even among the millennials, thinking that it's the new form of feminism. It's not. Feminism does not equal getting rid of that male factor, because we as females, I know I have a lot of the male factor in myself too.
Absolutely.
Because if that's what you want to say it is. So there is that equal balance of it, more so as in the feminine part, because then it comes out as, okay, I'm the female aspect. Males have it too, the female aspect of themselves. It is, again, denying aspects of yourself, or denying aspects of your craft. It's a hard thing to do for some people, but you have to reach out to both, because we've been taught the God form for so long in this modern times that it's very difficult once we move away from that, we all become just goddess oriented. So again, you have to evolve and take your mind to that aspect of maintaining the equality, or the balance, not equality, but the balance between the two. They each have things that they do. So one will be stronger in a certain part and one will be stronger in a certain part. But that's just the strengths of the female and the male, or the weaknesses of the female and the male. And I think what they do is the strength in the female counteracts the weakness in the male, and the male and the strength in the male counteracts the weakness in the female. I think it was meant to do that and balance out. That's why they need to be equal or balance out.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, if you think, again, it's one of the reasons I love being a witch and witchcraft. Everything is so logical that unless it makes sense logically, it's not correct to me. So I cannot become Dianic. I cannot become anything else that I'm not, other than I believe in both. Unless you're basically saying, as humans do, where they're a bastard child. I only have a parent. I only have a female mother. I don't have a male. Somehow the sperm got implanted somehow on its own miraculously. And the God part of it has decided he is going to give child support or whatever it is at some point. That's humans. Don't equate the humans to the gods and goddesses. I don't know if I'm rambling and saying what, but I think you know what I mean. You know what I mean. It's just
I
that
do.
we have to acknowledge things. We cannot deny things. And that's what a lot of witches in the modern times are doing. They're denying aspects of themselves or the craft or who they are as a witch to be what they think is the epitome of that witch. You cannot do that. That's like denying that whole thing about the love and light that we were discussing at the last show, and not acknowledging the dark side, as people would say, of who you are, because it's all you. You cannot deny a part, because something is going to get off balance and something is going to go chaotic at some point because of the imbalance of it. And it's the same thing that applies here. And you have to learn to accept that and evolve. Stop bloody suppressing things, because essentially that's what either the millennials or whomever else in the different traditions, you're suppressing things. It's not accepting. And one of the things the olden witches and they have always thought, male or female, you're a witch. That's what I loved about charm. They showed that witches were male and females. It happens, and it is, and it's what it is. The only difference is like the word, like you said, witcha and witche, just to show male and female. Other than that, like niño or niña in Spanish, other than that, they're still kids. But niño and niña, you know what I mean? So it's just a matter of learning to accept things, grow the hell up and evolve. Stop stagnating who your growth or what your growth is as a witch. I'm sorry, but that's what you do when you deny or suppress.
And I do have to add in there, and I have said this for years and years and years. I think one of the reasons that witchcraft is associated so much with women is because of its negative connotation. And so men would rather say, yeah, it's the women over here doing it. They're the one causing all the trouble. And I say that going back to the Garden of Eden, I've said this always, that Adam was the first example of a man who refused to accept responsibility. When God was like, why'd you eat from the fruit of the tree of life? He's like, oh, well, she made me do that. I
threw
wasn't
her under the bus. He threw her under the bus, like real hard.
It was her fault. It was her idea. If she hadn't handed it to me, I wouldn't do it. Instead of saying, well, you know what? She was eating it. Looked good. I wanted to give it a try. It looked like a nice piece of fruit. I wanted, no, you know what? It was her fault. And if she hadn't tempted me with it, I wouldn't have done it. And so I think it's a lot easier for them to put that negative on us as women. Instead of, keep in mind, I am not talking about all of the awesome male witches that I know, that I'm in groups with and things like that. I'm talking about a particular sect of them that would put that, oh, you guys are hunting witches. Well, it's the chicks that do that. We don't do that. We just do our own thing over here, but we're not doing that. And I do think that we get the blame, as always, because we're women, because of the negative connotation of it. If it was something that was revered, I guarantee you'd have 1 million men saying, yes, it was men who actually started this. Yeah. And we taught it to women and, blah, 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 blah. But because of the negative connotation, and, we as women, we don't have thin skins. Go ahead, call me names, call me a witch, do whatever you want to do. I'm still going to be who I am, and I don't really give a rat's ass what you think, because you're not paying my bills anyway. But with the guys, it's a little bit different. And I think that we get it more towards us because of the negative connotation. If it had an awesome, really reputable, strong connotation, something that everyone aspired to, then I'm willing to tell you that men would probably grab yes, we invented it and we were the first witches and blah, 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 blah. But because it is scorned, and people to this day are being hunted and killed because they refer to themselves as a witch openly, that is why, it's easier, because women, we're the abused ones. We're the ones that are always taking the brunt of everything. It's always our fault, so in some kind of a way, in the same way. And, excuse me for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. In Saudi Arabia and other countries, and maybe they're modernized, maybe not, I don't know. But from what I was told years and years ago, that the reason women are so covered up is that they don't tempt men.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, if you are afraid of being tempted, then keep your eyes straight ahead, look at the ground, look at the sky. No one's telling you to check out the chicks.
Yeah.
But you would rather have them covered up from head to toe in 150-degree weather, dying probably from the heat, because it would be their fault if you got tempted by them and did
the
something.
Hasidics do that too. A lot of the Hasidics, even in the buses, women have to be in the back so their butts don't tempt the men. And I'm sitting there going, so you're that weak? you are that weak that you are going to be tempted by a butt near you or in the front of you or whatever? Are you kidding me right now? Men have got to stop. Men have got to stop throwing the women under the bus and blaming them.
Take some responsibility for Pete's sake.
It's just like, okay, I did that shit. I liked the butt. It was waving in front of me, and I couldn't help it. I was like, remember Will? Remember Will Smith when he watched the leg go by? He's like, I enjoyed it. Okay, so that's Will Smith. I like that about him. Just see it for what it is. I enjoyed it. I liked it. Okay, so I'm good now. Just for a minute. When it walks again, I'll be right there with it.
I mean, why? I just cannot imagine. One day, my late husband and I, when we lived in New York, we used to sell stuff at the flea markets, the different flea markets there. And I remember it was like a really, really hot day. It was hot. It had to have been nearing 100. And it was just hot in that we were on the pavement where, we had all of our table and all set up, and it was really hot that day. And I remember seeing a couple, and I remember the woman, and all she had was just, you could see her eyes, and that was it. Everything else was covered. And you could tell from her eyes, she had like daggers coming out of her eyes, probably because her husband dragged her to the flea market. It's like 1,000 degrees. And don't forget, black absorbs heat. So it's got to be really hot under those clothes. And I'm like, that is so unfair. And meanwhile, he was wearing a t-shirt and a pair of jeans. And I'm like, you know what? This is so unfair that this woman is suffering like this. I guess so that she won't tempt men with her beautiful body, because people have no control over themselves.
They are so weak. All it says to me is you are so bloody weak. Come on, man. I know you got more backbone than that. Come on.
And you also weren't raised with my mother, who would have given you a beat down.
Smack you upside the head. Get a hold of
like
yourself.
That disrespectfully. Oh my goodness. My mother did not spank you. You got a freaking beat down. You were beat down. So, if you'd been raised with my mother, you wouldn't be looking anyway, because you'd be scared to death.
I better not look
behind you.
I got tunnel vision.
So let's take a look. So I wanted to
look at the chat
really talk about that. And let's see what we got here in our chat room. Okay. So we have Veronica, who says, sung to the tune of Merrily We Roll Along. Mercury's in retrograde. Mercury's in retrograde.
I love how people think you guys are so awesome. You guys
are so funny. And
I love you guys. You're so funny.
Goddess Monica is giving the warning. Hey, if you badmouth the retrograde, the retrograde's going to get you. So we love you, everybody. Hail Mercury. We love you so much. We are just so grateful for your awesomeness. And we ask your kind blessings and mercy during your retrograde. And thank you so much. So we've got a lot of people saying they can hear us and see us. That's fine. Okay, let me just see. So we have, please forgive me if I'm saying your name incorrectly. Junya, Junya. Junya, I'm hoping I'm saying your name right, because I hate butchering names. I love how I accidentally found myself here and it just feels like it was meant to be. Y'all are answering all my questions I've had. Yes, yay! And then we have Lolan who says, the story of Adam and Eve is a metaphorical story. Adam and Eve represent mankind, man and women. There was no reproduction in heaven. They had to be fallen in order to have children. Okay, we've got Veronica who says synchronicity. Junia, welcome. Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. So I'm just going to scroll down a little bit because my thing is scrolling on its own. Veronica is saying we have to take Muslim women into a private room to cut their hair just in case a man comes into the salon and sees her hair and she causes him to sin. Wow.
Oh man, you guys are just, I'm sorry, you're coming off as weak ass. Come on,
You
man.
really are weak. You are
you serious?
Truly weak.
Are you guys serious right now? Control yourself.
That is ridiculous. Okay, let's see. Jasmine says, witchcraft in history class at Ramapo College taught me that women were persecuted for being promiscuous. For being not promiscuous. Are you saying because you have for being not promiscuous? So I just wanted to clarify if you're saying for being promiscuous or that maybe that not was not supposed to be there. We have Ember who says, hey all, it's been a while. Oh, we love you too. Ember, you're very way cool.
Yeah.
And so it is true that I think that more actually male witches should stand up. Now I have to tell you, like I said, you know, I have a lot of male witch friends on Facebook and groups, and they are very vocal. They say what they have to say. So to me, it's like, oh, okay. You know, I see the divine masculine is out there and repping. But when I read this thing about the millennial witches and associating witchcraft with feminism, I started to think about that and said, well, if they are truly witches, then how are they not representing
Both
and appreciating the divine masculine? Because we have to have balance. Of course, I don't know what their, you know, what their traditions are or what their story is, but just as an old school witch like myself, we do need to acknowledge the divine masculine and the God energies. And yes, we do promote the divine feminine because we're trying desperately to bring that balance back into the world. But we do want to say that we do recognize, appreciate, and respect the divine masculine.
Yeah. It's just like whenever if you go to fall or whatever it is, most people say, oh God. My ingrained teachings, I come out with saying, oh goddess, without thinking. I just do it because that's just been ingrained in me. So when people hear me say it, they all turn and they look at me like, like you can see the puzzled look on their faces. What do you mean by oh goddess? And I look at them and I just kind of move on because I really don't have time to explain. I don't have time to explain to idiots. I just don't. Because if you cannot recognize that that would mean me teaching you. And that means people pay me to teach them this stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not giving it away for free. So if you want to learn, you come and learn. But in the meantime, yeah, oh God, I didn't think about it. If I almost fall or different things, it just comes out. And people who would learn with me have all gone places with me, and my reaction is always, oh goddess, or whatever it is, without thinking. We just do it, you know what I mean? And it's just it's so ingrained, I think, because again, the divine feminine needs to be recognized, and that's the reason why it's not being feministic or anything like that. It's the reason of balance. We are there to bring it back, and so we will keep repeating it. It's ingrained in us to keep repeating it until it is recognized. Once it's done, and I don't think it'll be, I'm hoping it's in my lifetime, then people would be saying, oh God, I saw God, you know, and they would not think anything about it because they recognize both. You know, it's just equality is what we are looking, or not equality, balance, because it's never going to be equal in that sense. It's just a balance of what their strengths and weaknesses are. And no throwing the other one under the bus. We're done with that time, okay?
No, we're not doing that anymore.
Because the man had done that for too long in the Bible. Constant throwing the woman under the bus through the Bible. Enough of that. That's why I'm not Christian.
Exactly, and never will be again.
Oh, no.
First of all, and just as an aside, Christianity has nothing to do with Christ. Because, Christ said, the only commandment is to love each other. That's it, love each other. And so they don't seem to be able to understand that concept and have gone off on their own little tangents. Yep. So I really don't think Christianity has anything to do with Christ whatsoever.
Nope. They've made up their own stuff.
They made up their own stuff.
And they've called it the word, and people follow it, emphatically so. And somebody started this a long time ago, and I cannot believe they actually follow it to the letter. Mm-hmm. It's kind of sad.
Very much so.
A lot of sheep.
We're going to finish up by going over the last comments in our chat room. We have Veronica who says, Z Budapest started the Divine Feminist Wicca movement. I don't know who that is, but I will certainly look.
I know who she is.
We've got, I'm sorry, this thing is moving. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about her, but I do respect her in the sense of she was one of the people that did help in the 60s. Mm-hmm. She went to jail a few times in defense of witchcraft and her craft. So that part I respect. Her denying a gender, like she does not allow anyone in her circle that was not born with the original parts of female.
Wow, really?
So if a transgender person enters her circle, they're not allowed. I loved her until she said those things, until her group disallows people like that. And I have not lost respect for her necessarily, as much as I cannot believe it, because she was one of those trendsetters of like, I'm fighting the system and I'm there with everyone for the rights of everyone and everything. And then now you just don't want transgender people. How do you go from one aspect and flip to 365 to the other aspect? Makes no sense to me. So I kind of, yeah, that's Z Budapest. Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to go ahead and also disagree with her, because
it's not right. It's not right.
Are representing what their soul is, not what their body is.
Yeah.
We're
not allowed to judge. I don't think we should be judging anyone. And to me, I see us as witches who, my epitome of who we are. We're not here to judge people, just accept who we are as witches, accept who we are as people. And that is why you would feel very disappointed when you go to Salem, because there's a lot of racist witchcraft groups, supposedly. It's what, you see like Christian Day fighting against and stuff like that. It's, oy vey. I'm so Jewish in the neighborhood of Jewish people. Oy vey.
Okay. So we've got, So Jasmine clarified. She says, yes, not promiscuous, as in refusing sexual advances. Wow.
And this is the Christians?
Let me scroll back to her
original comment.
Just bear with me for a moment.
Thank you, Jasmine, for clarifying that part. Now we got to go back and re-clarify everything and put it together.
I know. It's just now we've got so many comments. Countering thousands of years, blah, blah, blah. Wow, there's a lot of comments. I didn't even see that got skipped here. Sorry about that.
Okay, we try. So we're only human. We try.
Well, because it scrolls constantly, and I try to catch up, and I'm doing the best I can. So I just saw something.
I think they understand, hon. We can only do so much, but we do try our level best to get
do the best we can.
Do the best we can with everyone, because we want to make sure that you guys are all recognized until, you guys know for a fact it's not just verbally, but it's true. You are a very integral part of our show. And, we do try. It's the reason why I don't read the chat room and Goddess Rhonda does, because I can't even see it too well. So I'm not even going to bother.
Okay, I think I'm getting closer. Okay, you found it. Witchcraft in History class at Ramapo College taught me that women were persecuted for not being promiscuous, for refusing sexual favors.
See what I mean? So you were right. You were right. They want you to go back to the time of the Bible. No thinking, just open your legs and go, hey, help yourself.
Help yourself.
And women are not doing that. They actually have common sense and they say, no, I want it when I want it, kind of a thing. And objections are there. And, you know, it's interesting because there's a lot of groups that actually believe that. And they're not necessarily Christian. They just believe that one aspect only.
Mm-hmm.
And all pertaining to females. But again, to each his own.
To each his own. Okay, so we've got Jasmine, who also says, I want to say it was Cathar or Albigensian women that were deemed heretics because they were pure and outsiders wanted sex from them. An eclectic goddess says, and she's a lesbian, so that makes it even more messed up. Yes, that does. Roman says recently he's been saying thank the maker. Veronica, balance, not extremes. Ember says, use the heart to see and hear. That's just true. I like that. Cameron says, you always do the best you can, always, every time, and you're very much appreciated and loved for it. Oh, what you mean with me trying to figure out how to do the chat room? Thank you. I appreciate those kind words.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. Our people in the chat room are very intelligent people, and they know that we try our best. And we do try to get to everyone. At some point, you're going to hear your name. People are always surprised. They told me that when they meet me in person, they said, I was so shocked to hear my name being read. I'm like, yes, we will try our best to get to everyone.
Always to try to acknowledge.
But you will hear your name at some point.
All righty. So that is pretty much wraps up. As always, we are so appreciative of you, and we love you, and we are grateful for you. Mwah. We send you lots of love and blessings. And Sunday's the new moon, so happy new moon. May your intentions manifest.
Absolutely.
And so with that said, as always, merry meet,
merry part, and
merry again. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week, and we'll see you on Monday. Mwah.
Yes, love you guys.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.